It's just another TNA review.
Evening, everyone. I'm A. This is Tay. It's another episode of Tay and A Chiefs Recap. So, very amazing game for the Chiefs.
Yes.
So they're looking like the Chiefs team from the Super Bowl team that we saw 2 years ago, finishing up 41-14. Patrick Mahomes, 5 touchdown passes. He's scrambling.
Yeah.
He's looking confident. He's looking like that old Patrick Mahomes that we all know and love.
Yes.
They converted a fake punt on a 60-yard pass from to Townsend, to Kemp, Travis Kelce, Darrell Williams. Everybody's pretty much just a highlight reel for the Chiefs game.
Yeah.
I was watching. Not much though. On defense, of course, they picked it up. They were blitzing, bringing the house, almost everybody, putting pressure on Derek Carr. They pretty much copied that same strategy they used against the Packers, and I think that it worked well here. So what are your thoughts on this improvement from the Chiefs?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, this is what Chiefs fans have been waiting for all year. I mean, this is exactly what we got the O-line for. This is why we've been making these changes on defense. This is what we know that Mahomes and company can do. So, like, literally, this is like the aha moment. Like, I knew it. I knew it was coming, But it was like we all just had this like weird feeling like we're gonna get it, it's gonna click, we're gonna be okay, and I've kind of said this for weeks now. So like literally the whole game I'm just like, yes, like this is exactly what we have all internally been hoping and praying would happen, and it couldn't have happened at a better time. Now, don't get me wrong, I am pumped, I am psyched, I am on the verge of saying what everybody's saying, like, oh, the Chiefs are back. Like, yeah, the Chiefs were back last week. We got to keep it up. It's not just a one game, and now we're at the top of the division. Now we're finally in the playoff picture. Week 11, like we got to keep it up. We got a big game coming on Sunday. Dallas is coming to town. Like, we cannot let up. This is our last game before the bye. Like, we got to keep it up. Now, let's get back to the Raiders game, because I mean, literally, this is, like I said, this is what we've been waiting for. This was all 3 phases doing incredible. I mean, we saw things out of this offense that might even be better than what we saw last year or at the end of the season going into the Super Bowl run. I mean, like, this was like, oh my gosh, like you couldn't have drawn it up any better. I mean, like, shout out to Tommy Townsend on that fake punt. I called it, Aaron. I was like, I told my sister's sitting right here next to me in the cave, and I was like, we're going to fake it. We're going to fake it, because we just had too much momentum going. Like, it was the perfect moment. It was so good. And so Townsend did a fake last year. I think it was against the Jets maybe, and it was so good. And so Tommy used to play quarterback, I think, maybe in college, maybe it was high school. I don't know. Everybody played quarterback in high school. But anyway, Tommy has a cannon. Like, he's not just like, oh, there it goes. Like, no, Tommy has a cannon. I don't know if you saw that throw, but it was so good. And like, literally, we were both like, oh my God, because it was just like perfect timing. Like, the Raiders couldn't do anything on any side of the ball. Like, they got the stop in that moment, but it was perfect. Like, oh my God, you couldn't have drawn it up any better. And Kemp was over there all alone. I know when he actually caught the ball, there were a couple of defenders around him, but like, that was perfect. And then just the offense in general, you got Travis back involved. Tyreek had 2 touchdowns. You actually got a touchdown by the rookie tight end. That was his first touchdown. And what I love most about that drive to Noah Gray was he had either 2 or 3 attempts in that drive already where he didn't catch the ball. And I love that they just kept going and they went to him again for the touchdown, because what are the Raiders thinking? Oh, well, that guy ain't caught a pass this whole drive. They're surely not going to go to him. They're going to go to Travis, who they have been going to, and he's been successful. And oh my God, it was just genius. Like the whole game, I'm just like, this is what we've been waiting for. And shout out to Darrell Williams. He had 100 yards rushing, and then he had that phenomenal grab. He went up and mossed Abrams. Like, who does that? A freaking running back. Like, I mean, I know there's a lot of guys, running backs, that can go out and catch the ball, but like, that was just, oh my God. And like, and let's also, while I'm at it, same play, shout out to the O-line and Pat. Pat was so phenomenal at hanging out in the pocket and then stepping up in the pocket. That play specifically, he was in the pocket and it kind of started to collapse, and he just went right up, and he had the whole field in front of him. He could have thrown to the right. I think that's where Travis was to the right midfield. But then he kept looking, and D Will was down in the corner, and you saw him at first like, I don't know, and then he's like, okay, let's go. And Daryl Williams just happened to catch it. I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
So I think the whole game, like I said, all three phases were just so good, and it was like they just burst out of the time capsule or something, like all these people that have been saying all year long, oh, the Chiefs are broken, oh, Mahomes has been figured out, what's wrong with the Chiefs, blah blah blah. Like, it was just so fitting for it to be on Sunday night when everybody's watching in the Raiders' house, for the division, for first place, because the Chargers and the Broncos both lost. Like, it was just perfect. And again, I don't want to get like too high on the hog right now, because it's like, yes, there's still a long way to go. Like I said, we got to win on Sunday, or else we're back in the mix of things and not being in first place in the division if anyone else in the division wins. So we got to keep it up, and I think Dallas is going to be a really good game. I mean, but if what everyone is saying is true, like, oh, the Chiefs found their swagger again, the Chiefs are back. Like, if all of that is true, and if they can keep it up, this team is going to be scary good, because that defense is phenomenal. They literally, and it's a silly little record, but it's like from weeks 6 to 10 in the it said something silly. It was like from week 6 to 10 in the second half of the games, which I think at this point that's only valid because of like the Tennessee game, maybe. So like if you take out Tennessee, and you do like the Giants, Green Bay, and Raiders games. Anyway, the stat is that we have allowed the least amount of points as like some record-breaking defenses. So, a lot of people are still not wanting to give our defense credit. And I just think it's crazy, because what they have been doing these last 5 weeks now has been absolutely phenomenal. And everybody keeps saying like, oh, well, you played the Giants. Oh, you guys played Green Bay without Aaron Rodgers. Oh, it was the Raiders. Oh, it was the Raiders. You guys were all just high on the Raiders a couple weeks ago before they lost to the Giants. So I'm done with the excuses about like who our team is playing and why the defense isn't doing so good. I mean, I said this last week, but this will be another like true test, so to speak, for the defense. They did amazing against the Raiders. I mean, literally, and I said this last week, like if you apply pressure to Derek Carr, he will make mistakes. And that was exactly what we did. Like you said, we were blitzing the whole time. We were applying pressure to Derek Carr. And when you apply pressure to Derek Carr, he makes mistakes. I mean, that is most quarterbacks, but like even more so with Derek Carr. I don't know what it is. He is like the mistake maker when he is being pressured. It's like he just can't see anything that's going on because, oh my God, these guys are coming in to hit me, and he just boop, boop, and he can't do anything. So anyway, I think we executed that game plan perfectly. We had guys all over the field. Shout out to Tyron and who was down there? Fenton. Shout out to Fenton for the pop out on that ball on freaking Deshaun Jackson. That was beautiful. First of all, what in the world was Deshaun doing? If he would have just kept running, that would have been a touchdown. But instead, he like turns around and he gives Fenton the perfect spot to punch the ball out. I just thought that was so bizarre. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
I don't know what happened there.
It really looked like he like tossed it to Tyron almost. But then when then you put it in slow mo and you see that Fenton just punched it right out. That was great. So shout out to those two on that. That was fantastic. Shout out to Dirty Dan again, coming in somewhat clutch. And this is stuff that, this is what Dirty Dan does. He has a good play every now and then, and that's kind of what he's been. I mean, even more so in the playoffs for the Super Bowl, he had multiple instances, which is kind of where like the love for Dirty Dan has come. But like Dirty Dan has been quote unquote clutch in a lot of games, especially against the division. So, I mean, again, I said this last week, if they're going to put Dirty Dan out there, put him in situations where he can be successful. Do not put him out there covering guys and letting the other team score, let's not do that. And I don't think he lined up at safety very much on Sunday. I really didn't see a lot of those instances. There were times where I would see him on the field and I'm like, oh God, like please don't throw a dirty Dan's way. But then again, I think he was like at the middle linebacker area with Neiman. But either way, and I said this last week, if they can put him in situations to make him successful, I think he's not as big of a liability as he has been like this whole season. He didn't cause us a touchdown this week. He got the turnover, which is great. So defense overall was just killer. I mean, what they score 14 points? Like, I mean, we're averaging letting the opposing team score. I think 17 is the average in the last 4 weeks. So like, I mean, 3 weeks, take away the Tennessee game, but like we are doing a really good job, and like kind of silently, no one really wants to give our defense credit right now because of how they started out the season. And that's fine, because if where we're at right now can hold true and we can keep building on where we're at, which we have been doing, again, something we've talked about is build on where we're at, do better at defense, do a little better on offense. Well, if we keep building from where we're at, we're going to be a problem with anybody coming to the playoffs. And honestly, you know who I want to play again? The Bills or the Ravens or Tennessee. Like, I'll take any of them. Like, this is exactly what happened in our Super Bowl season. Like, we got spanked by Tennessee, and then we got to see Tennessee again, and I don't even want to talk about the playoffs yet, because like I said, we got a long way to go. But like, this is just kind of how my brain thinks, is like, we unfortunately didn't have our best game when we played them before, but like if we get all 3 cylinders clicking and we can get it going at the right time. I mean, you had the Bills that just lost to, who they lose to? The Jags the week before. I know they just killed the Jets, so it's like, it is what it is. But like, you got teams that are supposed to be good that are losing to teams that aren't good. You got the Ravens that dropped the Thursday night game to Miami. The only team in the AFC that looks convincing right now is Tennessee. But then you got the team that they just beat in the Rams going and losing to San Fran again last night. Like, I've been saying to everybody on my Twitter, is like, the NFL is nuts right now, and I don't think like anybody is convincingly good. Like, you could say, oh well, Green Bay. Okay, well, Green Bay just played a really, really bad Seattle defense and barely scored 17 points in the fourth quarter, So it's like, and then they're like, oh, it's the Rams. And then the Rams do what they did last night. And I'm just like, I'm not convinced any of these teams are good. The Ravens, I think, have gotten very lucky in a couple games. The Ravens could have a worse record than us if we would have won that game and if Detroit would have beat them like they should have. Like, there are just so many teams that it's like, are you good or are you not? Like, I mean, the same could be said for the Chiefs, So it's very weird, and I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, I know that we have to win on Sunday. We gotta obviously win out in the division to be sure that the division is ours, because we do play 4 more divisional games. The Broncos are on a bye this week, and then Raiders play Cincinnati, and Chargers, I think, play the Steelers. So these are all games that are like, they depend. They kind of help figure out who's going to be in the playoffs. They showed the playoff picture this week, and the Chiefs are finally in it. Now, of course, our division is at the bottom, so we're sitting at the 4 seed. And it's crazy because we lost these 4 games and people were screaming that the Chiefs were broken and what's wrong with the Chiefs. And now it's like, besides Tennessee, all of the leaders almost have the same amount of losses. The Ravens and the Bills, they both have 3 losses. So I just think it's crazy, and I think people were very down on the Chiefs way too early. Like, I just, and it's kind of why I felt this confidence this whole time. And like, okay, first of all, I have Patrick Mahomes. Second of all, I have Andy Reid. And third of all, I have like so many Hall of Fame guys on this team that there's no way that we can be as bad as we're putting out there, And the fact that these last 2 games were bad, but we still won. Like, that's the thing, is like, people say, oh, it's a bad win. That's a bad win. Well, it's still a win, And right now, that's exactly what we needed to get to where we are. So had those been losses, yeah, it would have been done. The Chiefs would have been done. But the fact that we were able to win those 2 crappy games, I think is a lot of what led them to that win on Sunday. And I don't know if you saw their little interviews after the game, but Pat and Trav, and I guess the whole team had this video that they saw where I think it was LaSalle, their football team, and some guys getting interviewed after the game. I don't know what position he was, but he says like, "Oh, I think I got my swagger back," and then he like backs off into the hallway, and so. That was kind of their thing that they did after the game, and everybody's just kind of going off it, and it's like, you know, you saw them on the sideline smiling and laughing and dancing and having fun. Like, we literally haven't seen that all year, and so that, I mean, that in itself makes Chiefs fans feel confident about the team, because it's like, okay, you guys are back to being yourselves again. Like, I mean, you could say that Travis and Pat and, you know, Chris Jones, like all these people that are usually really high energy spirits on the sideline, like you could say that they were completely gone those first 10 weeks, you know, of the season. So it's very nice and refreshing, even if it was just for one game. You know, it was nice to be able to see them acting like themselves again. It was very nice to see that. I mean, I didn't know if we were going to see that at all this year. So the fact that we were able to handle business on Sunday Night Football and get our swagger back a little bit, I think that's very telling of kind of where they're trying to go. And now, again, they got to go out there and do it. Sunday's going to be a big test, but it was really good to see them out there acting like themselves again.
Well, that's good. Yep, I agree with everything you said. The defense, like I said before, defense wins games, and the defense is looking amazing. I was going to say, I was thinking of the Deshaun Jackson play. At first, I didn't know what had happened. It looked like he was like enjoying it, but yeah, he popped it out, and yeah, it was crazy. But defense, they're in the house, and as long as they keep that fire going, because now they got to go up against, you know, Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott and Trevon Diggs and who else they got? CeeDee Lamb, all these all-stars. Even the Cowboys, I follow them a little bit just because I had some of their players on my fantasy team before, and I know that's going to be a difficult team. Now they keep this defense going, they keep this momentum going. I do think they have a chance to at least put up the same amount of points they did against the Raiders, because you know, when they apply that pressure to make those mistakes, they'll start forcing bad passes. They keep that consistency going. Patrick Mahomes plays like himself. He's starting to get his mojo back. Like you said, 5 TDs. He's that offensive line is doing their job, and yeah, I mean, like you said, not much else to add to what you said there. The Chiefs are starting to build up on that momentum. I want to see that going into against the Cowboys. But for this next game, what is your prediction? Let's say the offense keeps their momentum going, defense does their job. So what is your prediction against this stacked roster that the Cowboys has?
Yeah. You know, I felt that the Broncos, not this last weekend that just happened, but the weekend before that, the Broncos going into Dallas and kind of exposing them a little bit. And I hate to use the word expose, because I feel like that's such a cliche, right? But like, you know, teams that do well and then they lose to teams that are not so good, you know, like that's kind of how everyone says it, right? Oh, well, so-and-so exposed them. And I think, you know, I think the Denver has a good defense, and I think we have a good defense. So I think that if our defense can, again, do what they've been doing and doing well, that we're going to be in a good place come Sunday. Now, Dak, I think Dak's a great quarterback. I like Dak Prescott a lot. He is probably, you know, if I had to pick another quarterback that I really like to watch, it'd probably be Dak. Like, I think he's really, really great, really fun to watch, really a smart quarterback. So I think we're going to have to work a little bit harder, because I would say that Dak is above Derek Carr in, you know, quarterback rankings, so to speak, if that's what you want to say. But, they're gonna have to work a little bit harder, but I mean, I don't think that that Dallas is just gonna go out there and put up 30 at Arrowhead. I don't think so. I think like I said, kind of all of Chiefs Kingdom, all of the Chiefs fans have literally been waiting on this. And this is a game that a lot of people, Cowboys and Chiefs fans alike, have had circled on their calendars since the schedule came out. I think that Dallas coming off of their big win and us coming off of our big win is going to be very, it's going to make it a lot more hyped, you know, because they, who did they just play? Falcons. The Falcons, they clobbered them they clobbered them on Sunday, and obviously we clobbered the Raiders. So I don't know. I think honestly, it might be, I don't know, whoever wins, I think, is probably going to put up 30. I'm feeling kind of like a 30 to
Mhm.
14 type of game. Obviously, with the Chiefs coming out on top.
Okay.
I don't want to say it too confidently because, again, like this was one game, so to speak, but I do feel confident that this was exactly what the Chiefs needed. We just needed everything to click at the same time. And now that it has, I mean, you know how it is. Like, that is very contagious. And that's
Mhm.
exactly why and how teams get on these streaks, before we go into the playoffs, and how teams get hot and how they just like can't lose, like that's exactly what happened to the Chiefs 2 years ago, and that's, I mean, last year we didn't really lose at all, so kind of the same thing there. And then if you want to look at last year, like with the Bucks, that's exactly what happened. They got hot and they did not lose after that, so I mean, it's all about getting hot at the right time. And I think we are finding our stride in all sides of the ball. Special teams has just been phenomenal. Defense been working and working and working, and now the offense is finally there. The offense was there at the beginning. The offense got lost the whole month of end of October,
Mhm.
beginning of November, and now I think the offense is back. So I think, like I said, probably like 30 to 14. Honestly, I feel like the Chiefs put up at least 30. I feel like our defense can hold the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. I know I said this last week, but I think if the defense can hold them to about 21, 23, that's a winnable game for the Chiefs. I think the offense is going to do well. They might struggle a little bit now because the Cowboys have a good defense. I really like their
Mhm.
two rookies. I like Parsons and I really like Diggs. As long as Pat can stay away from Diggs and don't let that guy get an interception, then I think we'll be all right. And hey, that's another thing. We had no turnovers on offense again for the second week in a row.
Yep, bro.
We had the stupid fumble on special teams from Mike Hughes. Oh my God, that would have, like, we literally could have scored like 60 points in that game if that didn't happen. And the Raiders would have scored like
Mhm.
7. Like, it would have been even worse than it was if that fumble didn't happen. So, anyways,
Mhm.
again, shout out to the offense for no turnovers for the second week in a row, because that's something that no one's even talking about. Like, it's so silly to me because it's like you guys are harping and harping and harping on this team for, all they do is turn the ball over, and then they don't turn the ball over for 2 weeks and nobody says a word about it. It's just mind blowing to me. But that's how the media is. We all know how that works. But I think Chiefs can come out on top if we start out hot. If we do what we know we can do, and if this defense applies pressure, goes out there and makes plays. I mean, we had guys kind of all over the field, and I don't really super watch the Cowboys. I know there's a lot more passing that goes into their play than running right now. I know Zeke has been
Mhm.
kind of spotty, like he'll have games where he has a okay game and then other games where they don't really utilize him at all. So, I don't really know what they're going to do. I know they're probably going to try to use Armani and CD and, all their young, fast guys. But we got young and fast secondary. So I think if we can, just play our ball and play it well, that we'll come out of there with a dub. But I mean, I'm expecting a good game. Honestly, I'm thinking that it's going to be a good one.
Oh, yeah, it should be fun to watch. These two teams, they both have
Mm-hmm.
amazing rosters.
Yes.
I'm curious to see these defenses battle out.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the Chiefs, they should walk away with a win. I know that they have a, who was it? Ward, though he was sick, or he was. Is that
Yeah.
why
He
he
had an
left the game?
illness.
I wasn't sure who.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't see anything about that, but maybe he'll be back for this
Yeah.
week against the Cowboys. I know my
Right.
Bears had a tough loss, nail biter against the Steelers. They only lost by 2 points,
Yes.
but we'll see how they do against the Ravens. That's who they're going up against next.
Hey, if they want to win, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be mad.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, a great week for the Chiefs. Keep this momentum going. The defense, just keep doing your job. They will win
Yep.
games.
Yep.
Offense, avoid those turnovers, like you said. He broke that tradition of throwing a pick every single game. Not a lot of 3-and-outs that I remember.
No, not
They're
very
getting their
many.
confidence. Yeah, they're building that confidence up to run trick plays and going
Yep.
forward. And you know what? they keep doing that. They keep doing all these. Like, was that the Super Bowl where they did that kind of that trick play where they spun
At the goal line? Yeah, that was in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Like they'll do things like that, and during this game, maybe it'll be fun. And then I'm sure they'll make the playoffs, and I'm sure they'll go far. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. And it's is this a home game? It's gonna be at the stadium.
Yeah, it's a home game, so that's gonna be good for us.
Yeah, I take it you're gonna go to this one too.
Oh yeah, I'll be there. It's supposed to be pretty decent weather. I think like 55 or something at kickoff, so it should be all right. Won't be so fun for the Cowboys, but that's all right. We that's kind of like something that I think gets super overlooked with teams that play in a dome or play where it's hot. Like, you know, when they have those games where they got to come to the Midwest or they got to go up north, like, you know, it's not as easy to come and win games in cold type of situations. You know, like I think that gets super overlooked by a lot of people, and they don't realize, you know, like how cold it can get in Kansas City, how cold it gets up in Green Bay and Cincinnati, Ohio. You know, like all these places, like Denver. You know, like it's pretty cold. So I don't think it'll be a huge factor on Sunday. Obviously, like 50 is not cold by any means, but you know, you just never know with these teams that play inside. I mean, it's a big difference, especially when you're used to, you know, being compartmentalized into a dome like that. So, like I said, it shouldn't really be a factor on Sunday, but it'll be nice to kind of see them out of their element. I don't think they've had any quote unquote cold games yet. So be nice to kind of see how they do with that. But I think that I just think it's going to be a good game. I'm like already super anxious about it. I just wanted to get here because I think everybody just wants to see, like, are we really back on track? You know, like I think Chiefs fans can say that, and we can say that pretty confidently. But like you got all these other media people that are like, oh, like I said, like, oh, it's like one game, you know, and it's like, yeah, it is one game, but like you guys said that this game wouldn't happen, you know, like you guys said all year that the Chiefs are done, the Chiefs are finished, the Chiefs can't make the playoffs, the Chiefs need to just hang it up, and you know, so like that kind of was like really personal for a lot of us. We're like, no, like we're not done. Like we literally have one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and he's 26 years old. Did you see that this is his third game of 400 plus yards and 5 touchdowns, tying Manning, Marino, and Joe Montana for their all-time games doing that. And you know who wasn't on that list? Tom Brady. You know who wasn't on that list? Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. Like, you know, all these guys that everybody would argue are Hall of Fame quarterbacks, you know? So it's like, Mahomes is still Mahomes. Mahomes is number 2 in passing right now, only behind Stafford. He is I think he's number 1 on touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. Stafford might have passed him last night for that too. I don't know for sure, but like that's what's crazy is Mahomes is arguably having, you know, and take away the first 4 games because for whatever reason those just don't count anymore. But you know, take away those first 4 games where the offense was clicking, you know, and we had literally 4 games where the offense was trash, and like he's still that high up on the passing list and that high up on the touchdowns. Obviously the interceptions are also high, which sucks, but I mean, if we can keep playing at the level that we're playing at, then who cares? I mean, everyone else is probably going to catch him on the interception list because hopefully we don't commit too many more. But yeah, I just think that you can't ever count this team out, and that's what a lot of Chiefs fans have been talking about for weeks is like, you know, like, does it suck to lose games? Yeah, of course it does. But like, I'm not worried about this team, you know, and it seems so silly after the Tennessee game. Like, what do you mean you're not worried about this team? You just scored 3 points against Tennessee, you know, and what do you mean you're not worried? You only scored 20 against the Giants and you only scored 17 against Green Bay, you know, like, but it never seemed like a panic moment for a lot of us, you know? And again, I think that's because of Pat and Tyreek and Travis and Andy Reid and all of these guys. Like, we are too talented to not be good, you know? And the fact that they were just able to kind of wake up out of it in the middle of the season before the bye week, you know? Like, I just think that's very telling. And I think that Sunday's going to be a good game, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see if they can walk away with a win. Cowboys. I'm looking forward to watching it. Do another fourth quarter
Should
watch
be a good
along.
one.
As yeah, it should be good to watch. I know that, like you said, they just built all this momentum. From those losses they had, they learned from each experience.
Yeah.
I know people were starting to doubt them for a little bit. They weren't looking like themselves, but again,
Right.
they didn't hang their heads. They could have molted around, but nope. They watched film, they study, they
Right.
picked it up on defense. They're fixing their assignments. They're doing what they should be doing. They're starting to look like themselves. So you know what?
Right.
As long as they keep that going, they're going to do good against them. I think they'll just be doing good here on out. So we'll see how they do against the
I hope
Cowboys.
so.
Prediction:
Yes.
You think the game will be kind of low scoring? I think, or like 20s maybe. It should be close. Should be a nail biter. I'm looking forward to watching it. It should be fun.
Yes,
Well, thank you.
absolutely.
It's always a good time here on
Absolutely.
TNA with you. Well, I enjoyed this week's episode. Thank you so much. It's always fun when the Chiefs get a win, especially
That's
in the
right.
performance they put on. A great game
Yes.
by them
Oh yeah,
overall.
absolutely.
Well, yep. Well, we'll be here next week when we talk about the Dallas Cowboys. We'll see if that defense can keep up that good work. We'll see if Patrick Mahomes can keep looking like the magician that he is on the field. And yeah, it should be a good one.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Taylor.
Yep, thank you.
I hope you have thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a good rest of your night.
Yep, you too.